Hello, it's DannyDealz here. Thank you for tuning in to Un Poco Mas, the show where we try to bring you just a little bit more. On behalf of myself, executive producer Hurricane Lopez, and supervising producer Stock Karen, we would like to bring you a Nio update, ticker symbol NIO. As most of you know, probably all of you know, Nio is an EV maker based in China. They had a lot of promise the last couple of years. The stock spiked on the EV mania and went all the way up to like $60. Since that time, the production ramp that Neo had promised all of us has not materialized. They do keep turning out new models on time, but the issue is, besides the ET5 sedan, they are not selling those models in any quantity, and the stock price has been absolutely decimated, going, like I said, from like $60 not too long ago, and now down near all-time lows, below $8. Today, the stock is up 7 cents, or almost 1%. Volume is moderate at 19 million shares. It's 9:44 a.m., a Topper time check. This is a Topper time check, 9:44 a.m. May 17th, 2023. We have 15 minutes to the top of the hour out here on the Pacific Coast. It's almost 1 p.m. out in NYC. Hope it's a great day wherever you are. This has been a Topper time check. As far as the Neo stock goes, I want to share my screen here. Um, you can see, if you just go back over like a 5 year period, the stock is actually lower today than it was back in February of 2019. So that kind of shows you, while Neo has made a tremendous amount of progress with their battery swap network, pushing into Europe, rolling out new models, signing partnerships with oil companies and tech companies, expanding their own in-house battery design and development, expanding partnerships with raw materials suppliers. They have made a ton of progress, but um, the EV industry is priced, the stocks tend to be priced based on delivery numbers. Obviously, that is a little bit problematic for a company like NIO that is trying to basically take on the entire world, produce a full product line of not only sedans and SUVs, but also sort of hatchbacks, station wagons, crossovers. They're talking about producing two sub brands, one premium, one economy. The economy one pushing first into Europe. And the company is essentially just trying to do everything. And you combine that with like Neo houses, their furniture, their clothing, their lifestyle brand. Um, as I've said in previous videos, I think Neo is putting the cart before the horse a little bit. You have to gain some market share. You have to have enough customers out there to be using the battery swap network. Neo's the only brand that can use their battery swap network. Of course, other makes can use their charging network, but at this point, unless they gain some partnerships and to license their powertrain, they're the only company that uses this battery swap network. And when they're only selling, 1,000 or 1,500 cars a week, and they're talking about building out, you know, over 1,000 battery swaps in China just this year, and I think it was 100 they were trying to build in Europe. Um, I don't think the quantity of vehicles they have on the road and the quantity of vehicles they're producing currently justifies their push in all these different directions. I think you have to gain a certain amount of market share. You have to prove that you can produce these vehicles in numbers. And I understand the global supply chain issue, the chip shortage, but all of that stuff is sort of sorting itself out. And I mean, if you look at production, like this week, if we saw May 8th to May 14th, um, Neo produced 1,200 cars. That's the first time I think I've seen them actually less than XPEV. Lee produced 6,600. Tesla in China registered 10,000. BYD 47,000. So other companies are making a lot of vehicles. Neo's factory is supposed to be done. They're supposed to be ramped by now. I know they had some production issues with the ET7, but we have to see this thing turn around in the second half of 2023, or else this stock is going to be down firmly in penny stock territory, which I know none of us want to see because we do see the potential in this company. We see the massive potential in battery swap that just hasn't been realized yet. Their partnerships with major oil companies, both in Europe and in China, a lot of partnerships with different levels of the Chinese government, which really helps their capex structure. And, Nio is poised, I think, to take off in the second half of this year, but we just have to see if that's going to actually happen because, we all thought they were poised to take off in the first half of this year once. Neo Park came online, and Neo and IO was supposed to be one of the biggest components of that park. And I think most of us expected, Neo to be producing like 20,000 vehicles a month at this point, but they're not even doing 10. So it's very, very problematic. In any case, I wanted to go over a couple of things with you. Production, which we already have hit on, shorts, options, price action, and then just some general sentiments on the stock. So if we go over to the chart, I just, as I always say, you can put out like Fibonacci, you can draw lines on the chart any which way you want, but it doesn't really matter because, I mean, these can be helpful. These can be kind of interesting to look at. They can be great fodder for YouTube or Twitter or, some of these sites. But at the end of the day, this is just speculative nonsense that many of us like to engage in. But if you take a look at this stock just in the last like 3 quarters since September, you'll see the stock really, really consolidating into this wedge. Here, at this time, you're trading between $13 and $10. So you have like a $3 range. It continues to get more narrow. You're trading between like 11 and 8. So it's a $2 range. Continues to narrow, um, you know, to $1.50 range. And then where you're trading now in this channel, you're like 850 to you know it's about $1.25 trading range. It just continues to get tighter and tighter and tighter. I would like to see the stock pick back up and catch this first pink line here, which is just under $8. Note that was the all-time low when the stock basically did this sort of epic dive here from September 2022 when the stock was popped up over $20, and then it just had a massive, massive sell off all the way down to $8. So I think any of us neo investors would like to see the stock regain some support here. It's flirting with that line. Of course, it bounced off that line back in March, and we had a little bit of a rally. And of course, we tested this upper limit in blue. I don't know if you can see that. I'll take it up here, but this wedge has been actually pretty accurate. We tested this here on March 31st and again on April 17th. Both times rejected. But as you can see, the stock has broken down below this support line at about $8.15. Of course, currently trading under $8. We have to regain this line just to have any hope of rally, any hope to support the stock. What are key levels coming in after that? These are just things I'm seeing on the chart. They're absolutely really don't have a lot of meaning. I wouldn't trade based on them, but I'm just trying to give you some pivot points. If you want to take a look at them, I'd invite you to look at the chart yourself. But this particular one, we're talking about, right about $9.75. That could be a key level. And then as you come up here, we've seen resistance just come in a couple of times here about the 1340, 1345 mark. So if we can stay above $8 and production can ramp, we should be able to move up past this 950 mark that has been support a couple of times back here in January and then November, and then stock found support here after the epic fall back in October. So 950, if we can get out of 950, I think it's possible we could challenge this. Oh, I don't know what that level is exactly. I hate these Yahoo charts because they don't really tell you where that you are. But anyway, it's about $13.40. I'm not going to, draw any more lines up any higher than that. Let's face it, we're down under $8. So I think, you know, a move to $13.40 would be like 70% move or something. I can't do math in my head. I'm not very smart. But in any case, let's just talk about those levels because I don't really think there's, you know, I don't think production and news, unless something crazy hits, are going to push the stock up more than that until we see a very, very significant increase in the number of vehicles they're selling and registering. So, wanted to go over just a quick article on Guru Focus, which is, interesting to take a look at. It's by Stavros Georgiadis. If you can't trust a Greek certified financial analyst, who can you trust? So they go over, its differentiation. The unique selling point is the business model as competitors from the battery swap. Neo's established a network of battery swap across China. You can trade for a fully charged one. Of course, we all know that. Neo's gained popularity and recognition for its cutting edge design, advanced autonomous driving, ecosystem, blah, blah, blah. But of course, the market doesn't care about any of that. The market doesn't care about Nomi. How can the market not care about Nomi? It's just so cute. It's got the little eyes. Oh, it's like Johnny Depp dancing with those potatoes. Like how can you not love that? But in any case, the company has one glaring problem. It keeps losing money. Neo's strong brand identity and customer centric approach has contributed to its success in the EV market, but it can't sustain a negative free cash flow trend forever. How can Nio stop losing money? It goes over 2022, very poor results. It increased sales 37%, but that really wasn't what we were expecting. The gross margin, this is very, very problematic, fell to 10.4% for 2022 compared to 19% for the previous year, and the net loss widened by 260% from the previous year to $14 billion. What about the vehicle margin? Nio increased its volume of production a lot. There's bad news there too. The vehicle margin was 13.7% for 2022, a significant decline compared with 20% for the previous year. The company generates negative QE. We all know this. Things have not gone well. You can read this data if you want. You can read this article. So what should Nio do to stop losing money? One route I think they should avoid at all costs is cutting prices to take part in the EV price war. I completely agree with this. It may seem like a great way to drive volume, but that only works for a company that is making net profits and each vehicle sold. This is not the case with Nio. And right now, Nio, at least as far as I can tell, is production constrained. They're barely making any of some of these models. They're making some ET5s, but some of their wait times have actually just increased, and I don't believe they have any vehicles sitting in inventory waiting to be sold. So they really have, unless you can't sell the vehicles you're making or you're slowing down production because demand isn't there, there's no reason to cut prices. And I think Neo's price for the vehicles they have and the technology they have, the premium product, is extremely attractive already. So basically, Nio could expand their customer base by reaching new markets. Of course, we've never thought of that. They've never thought of that, right? Second, Nio could enhance operational efficiency by focusing on reducing costs. Okay, of course. These are very sort of obvious things. I know that Nio's thinking about reducing costs and increasing margins and becoming more efficient. Nio could also achieve economies of scale. Again, this is just ramp. This is like common sense, like this article is like falling off a log and just hitting your head on a big pile of feces. That's how dumb this article is. But in any case, I am even dumber because I am sharing it with you. So there's always the strategic option of partnerships. Collaborating with other companies could reduce costs, cost sharing, expanding reach. Partnerships could involve joint ventures, technology licensing, strategic alliances. Of course, Nio has already done quite a bit of this. If you read their list of partners, strategic partners, and suppliers, it's very, very extensive. A few months ago, I think it was, they had a lot of their partners in for a meeting, kind of a celebratory thing, but, maybe you celebrated a little bit too soon, and Steve Tasker's running behind you to, strip the football, and you're doing a little touchdown dance as you cross the 1 yard line. Who was that? I think it was Leon Lett, one of those one of those Cowboys guys. Anyway, he stripped him at the goal line. So let's not celebrate too early with these partnerships, because you have to produce a lot of vehicles to make them actually pay off. So finally, Nio could spend more time improving brand awareness and marketing. I think Nio's brand awareness is really supposed to be really, really strong in China. The problem is they're not producing enough vehicles. They're not scaling. They're not ramping their production. It is important to note that turning around financial losses takes a multifaceted approach that can often require more upfront investment. Nio does not seem an attractive opportunity now, in my view, as net losses keep widening and the company is burning cash on its path to expansion. Um, it's very hard to argue with that conclusion. I mean, all his solutions are like extremely obvious, and they would apply to almost any business. Like, you need to get more customers, you need to be more efficient and make your margins better. You can, get strategic partnerships. You should scale the company, and then you could achieve economies of scale and make more money. Like, okay, I mean, this is very, very obvious stuff. But in any case, let's just go over the short interest very quickly on Nio. Um, Not an extreme short on the stock. The daily short interest, the short score is 63. The estimated short interest of free float is 8.1, which is up 25% in the last 3 months. Free float on loan 16%, up 65% in the last 3 months. Shares on loan 220 million, up 71% in the last 3 months. Days to cover is at 5, which is almost doubled. Cost to borrow 0.84, up 27%, but still very low because there is an absolute ton of shares. There's like over a billion shares of Nio. And also, utilization has gone up 56% to 43.23. Not going to be any short squeeze here. There's just way, way, way too many shares. But if they are able to ramp production, you will see that, shares shorts covering could put some more buying pressure on the stock. Days to cover way up. The short has definitely increased. Even in the last 7 days, the short has increased quite a bit. If you look at the shares on loan, free float on loan, it's up 8%, days to cover up 8%, cost to borrow up 1%, utilization up 6%, just in the last 7 days. If you look at the analysts' expectations for Nio, which again, I don't think these expectations really mean very much. It's kind of a wag the dog scenario where, the analysts follow the price action. But in any case, out of 9 ratings, we have 6 buys, 3 holds, low of 10, high of 25, and an average of about $15. So the average, the average price target represents the stock nearly doubling. If you take a look at just one of my favorite guys is this VJ Rakesh with Mizuho. I like Mizuho in general. Of course, you guys know I am a big SoFi bull, so DannyDealz, touchdown DannyDealz is a favorite of mine. But in any case, if you look at VJ Rakesh, he has a $25 price target on Nio, and he is one of the best analysts in the country. He is just almost in the top 100, number 101 out of 8,365. So he's right in that, top 2%, and then he's number 273 out of 33,000 experts. And you can see he does a lot of like semiconductor stuff, a lot of tech stuff. But I really like just I've followed him for quite some time, and he's a 5-star analyst. He's the out of all these analysts that are covering Nio, he is the top rated guy, and his price target is $25 on the stock, which he reiterated 3 months ago. Jeff Chung, who I also like, I don't know why he's rated so low on this. I don't put too much stock in these tip ranks. I start ranting and raving 0-star analyst, 5-star analyst, half-star analyst, but this doesn't necessarily indicate that the guy is good or bad. It could just be one or two stocks that make some huge move away from their call can really skew this data. So I'm not saying this is like the be all end all, but Citigroup has a buy. They just reiterated and a price target of 23.30. So I mean, Morgan Stanley again at 12. They just reiterated HSBC, Deutsche Bank, all reiterated buy ratings. Even Bank of America. Ming Soon Lee. I know this guy is actually one of the people who really understands the industry. He has a $12 price target and a buy, which again represents a huge upside on the stock. I know it's not the price. A lot of us want to say, oh, it's a $20 stock, it's a $50 stock. Um, Not really, but it isn't. The market tells you what it is, and right now it's an $8 stock because that's where it's trading, and that's what the market's telling you, and that's how stocks are priced by supply and demand, buyers and sellers. It's not short selling, it's not manipulation. It's just the way it is. The company has not delivered, the company has not executed. They've done a lot of things right, but they just haven't been building a lot of cars. And when you're a car company, your goal is to build a lot of cars and make money. And it's not to build furniture. It's not to build lounges. You're not an airport lounge company. You're not a house company. You're not a watch company. You're not a cell phone company. You're not a lifestyle brand. You're a car company. Build some freaking cars, William Lee. Build cars. You're a car guy. Four wheels, a battery, a steering wheel, a Nomi. Build the damn cars. Ramp the ET5. Push the ET5. I know you've got some other beautiful models out there. Push the ET5. Let's go over to CNEV Post where I lift basically all my Nio shtick. So right now we have, these weekly registrations are just absolutely abysmal. Nio is at 1,200. They're telling us, they're going to make, I think, 250,000 cars this year. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. If you give Nio credit, they've produced, I guess, 38,000 cars through April. So say they're going to produce 8,000 this month. That's 46,000. Give them credit. Give them a ton of credit, and say they're going to make 15,000 cars in June. So for the second half of the year, in order to hit their delivery target, just some quick napkin math, they'd have to produce over like around 30,000 cars per month. Um, so they're going to have to go from, 1,200 cars per week to like 6 to 7,000 at least. Is that, people say that's not realistic? Well, I am not in a position to say whether or not it's realistic. Sorry, guys, having an extremely bad hair day here. Very disheveled, not someone you'd want to take advice from. I'm not camera friendly. Kids run when they see me. I don't, Buzz Beamer, one of my favorites, Chris Farley. But I'm not trying to model my look after him necessarily, but sometimes things just work out this way. So anyway, want to just go through some of the Nio headlines. Of course, we see the insurance registrations. They are not good. Again, Xpeng outsold us. Yikes. At least Ato is tied with us, and Shenlong is only 300 ahead. So, anyway, first swap station built by Nio and Shell in Europe goes online. This is great news. This is really the promise of Nio. I mean, this is where it's at. Shell is in bed with Nio. And this is exactly what we want to see happening. This is going to be critical to getting our numbers up in Europe, and it's going to be critical to the business in a lot of ways. Next headline: Nio to officially launch ES6 on May 24, delivery to start the next day. This is one of the things I really like about Nio, is that when they say they're going to do something, they really tend to do it. Not that all their models are perfect, not that they've ramped, but the fact that they get these models out on time says to me that they can execute. They are very, very capable of executing, and they are doing a lot of things right. So it gives me a lot of confidence as a Nio investor. I'm not here for the next 6 months. I'm here for the next 6 years. So, I'm not extremely concerned. A lot of companies have growing pains. Tesla had a lot of growing pains. When they launch the Model 3 and Nio's trying to launch like 6 models, I do think, as I've said in a previous video, they should look at Tesla, they should look at Lee, they should look at BYD, consolidate what they're doing, not try to expand so rapidly in terms of all the models, covering all the bases, covering all the price points. Look at what's selling and ramp that and sell that. Give the people what they want. If the people say, hey, we want vanilla and chocolate ice cream, you're going to serve them like red bean ice cream. And they're like, nope, we want to buy vanilla and chocolate. And Lee's like, well, what about peppermint? Or Nio, and what about peppermint? They're like, no, we want to buy vanilla and chocolate. That's what's selling. You're almost out of vanilla and chocolate. Your wait times for vanilla and chocolate. And they're like, oh, I know. We're going to give you, persimmon ice cream and kiwi. And it's like, Nio, give the people what they want so you can get to profitability and then you can grow. Like, you have, it'd be nice to do everything. Everyone wants to do everything. Everyone wants to be the biggest car company in the world with the most models and the best technology, but it only works if you're selling them. I'd rather sell 3 cars in big numbers than have 7 cars that look pretty and we're not able to build 5 of them. So let's focus on what's working. Let's ramp, ramp, ramp that ET5, and let's ramp, ramp, ramp. I like saying that. I like just repeating things. Um, let's ramp, ramp, ramp that ES6 because I believe that is going to be a huge seller at the end of the day for Nio. Another headline 2 days ago, Nio EC7 and ET5 wait times get slightly longer. They've changed from 5 to 7 weeks, and for the ET5 from 2 to 3 weeks. So that's good sign. Demand is there. It's not extremely long wait times or anything, but tells you they can sell the cars they're building right now. That's for damn sure. Another headline 2 days ago, Singapore's deputy PM visits Nio House in Shanghai. Nio is actually building an R&D center in Singapore where it looks into smart power solutions and autonomous driving technologies, said Lawrence Wong. So this is, again, a good thing. Nio exceeds 1,400 swap stations in China. Nio's 1,400th battery swap station in China was built with German retail giant Metro, and the two have built a total of 21 facilities together to date. This is a great article right here. Nio ET5 touring spotted in real life in China uncamouflaged. Nio ET5 touring with a green exterior is seen for the first time. Yellow and blue versions of the model have already been seen in Europe, while black version appeared in a regulatory filing in China. Nio ET5 is seen in the streets of China. WeChat user, basically this is just spotted in public, but I mean, this is a good looking vehicle. I mean, come on. As Timmy, as Jimmy Vollmer would say, come on. I mean, this is just stunning. This is reminiscent to me of some of those like really incredible like Volvo wagons that were just I think highly underrated. Um, it's really sort of threading that needle between a sports wagon and a very sporty SUV. The roof line is just gorgeous. The back end, I mean, this is obviously extremely subjective, but I'm a car guy. I love really really sporty wagons. I love hot hatches, all that stuff. So any of those really fun import cars, this thing, what a beautiful car. I mean, it reminds me a little bit of the some of the more beautiful iterations of the Mercedes E-Class wagon, which I always thought was again an extremely underrated vehicle. Station wagon SUV, the line is being blurred a little bit because people don't want to drive a station wagon. That's what your mother drove. People want to drive an SUV because that's the cool thing when you have to take your kids to soccer practice. But if you can get the benefits of that sporty ride of that sports wagon and the look, that amazing look that Nio is going for here, that I believe Mercedes and Volvo were both able to capture with certain models of their wagons. I mean, I really think you're getting the best of both worlds, and I think this car is going to be a huge, huge seller. ET5 Touring, ES6, Nio has the coolest, most exciting, best looking vehicles, some of the best technology. I remain very bullish on Nio. As I look down, I can see that I have been blabbering on for half an hour now. I don't know why my voice is still working, but it is. In any case, guys, haven't checked in with my Nio people in quite a while. I haven't sold any of my Nio shares. I was just adding actually yesterday. Picked up a couple hundred shares. I think, full disclosure, I have a pure long investment in Nio, many, many shares. At least for me, it's a pretty large position. Um, so that is my position on Neo. No hedge, no short, none of that stuff. I really never do that. No stop losses. I just watch my companies carefully, and I continue to add on dips, and I hold unless the narrative changes, unless my view of the stock changes, unless I have new information. I continue to believe that Neo ultimately will ramp production on these vehicles, and I believe Neo, with their battery swap technology and all their other vertical integration, is going to be a serious player on the world EV stage over the next couple of years. And that's why I'm a long term investor in Neo. That's why I continue to buy when the stock falls. And unless something changes, I'll keep doing that. Guys, down in the comments, please tell me, what do you think Neo needs to do to get going? What would you say to William Lee if you had the opportunity to address him? And do you think Neo is going to ramp? Do you think they're going to be able to sell 200,000 vehicles this year, or 250,000? Or more realistically, I put a number, right now I'm hoping for like 180, 190,000. I would be extremely happy with that. But if the factories start humming and running, at full scale, there's absolutely no reason they couldn't crank out these 30,000 vehicles per month and get to their goal. But again, we're not even at 10. We haven't exceeded that mark. In a while. So I would be very happy if next month we could get to 15,000 vehicles and then just approach 20,000 a month. And, I just want to be realistic and set realistic expectations. But as I said before, this industry is priced by registrations and sales. And that's just the way it is. They're not really a far looking, into the future, looking at potential, looking at models, looking at infrastructure, looking at partnerships. It's just, what have you done for me lately? You know, you're breaking your mother's heart. But anyway, Neo, guys, I really like the company. Obviously, the price action has been very, very tough for the long-term Neo investor. If you're anything like me, you're underwater on the stock, but you remain a cockeyed optimist, a la Seinfeld. So in any case, guys, I really appreciate you watching. I'm sure none of you are watching at this point because it's been 32 minutes and you would have to be a complete lunatic to be watching, but I hope some of you out there are just that crazy and you've stayed with me. My name is DannyDealz. The show is in un poco mas. I can't even talk anymore. The executive producer is Hurricane Lopez. The supervising producer is Stock Karen. The stock is Neo Inc. The ticker symbol is NIO. The date is May 17th, 2023, and a Topper time check, 10:16 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You guys have a great day, and we'll be back in touch about Neo sooner than later.